Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and tonight I'm again not joined by any special normal co-hosts because farming and the delights that go with that. So with that, tonight instead, we have a special guest here with Charles from Klecker Tactical.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh,
Glad to be on finally.
Yeah. Well, we've made it work, and it didn't take near as long and storied to get you on as a couple of our other guests. We've had some people that it was like a year and a half in the making to get them on, just to get all the schedules to line up, and how those things go, where last minute stuff comes up, but no, it is good to have you on. And as we're going through, before we jump into a little bit of this, we'll find out about you and what it is you do here in a little bit. But have you done anything kind of fun with guns this week?
Well, that's about every week because I work as a gunsmith, so there's always fun when you work as a gunsmith. Headaches too. It wasn't this week. It was 2 weekends ago. We went out to a range. A guy that works with us, one of the farmers that comes in almost every morning. He's got 400 plus acres. He's got an old farmhouse that he's got built up berms, and we pretty much just made our own range there. And we're going to make it a regular range. So we went out there and set up the range and did some testing on where to move the berm and everything like that. So we're kind of building the range out, and then did some proof of concept fires on some courses, and we're going to start doing that more regularly. So there will be a monthly meet there, which will be really cool.
That is awesome. So as a fellow gunsmith, I'm sure you will appreciate this. I got handed a rifle that had that holding the bolt in place. And for anyone not looking or not watching the screen, this is a piece of 9mm brass that had an out of battery detonation and became a very, very beautiful 9mm flower.
Wow.
And enough to literally lock the bolt to the midway rear.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen that yet, but I did have a Savage 99 that the guy either dropped it, but the inside of by the tang, the stock broke, and a piece of the stock came up and jammed that really awesome rotary mag.
Oh yeah.
And it jammed the action. I took the stock off and found that piece. Problem is with those Savage 99s is good luck finding a stock.
Yeah, I have one in the safe right now. Actually, so we have, I guess technically we have 3. So
yeah, the guy I work with, it's in Saginaw, Michigan, and he has probably one of the largest parts inventories that you'll ever see. There's people all over the country that call him and say, "Hey, do you got this part?" And he rifles through this parts list in his head and goes, "Nope," or "Yep." And I barely ever hear him say no. So
I've worked with those kinds of guys before, and those are just some personal collection, family heirloom stuff, and it's old 243s that are beat up and chased coyotes for years. And that Savage Model 99 was, well, and for its time, that was really a revolutionary design.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was not quite the first, but it was one of the first, and the first widely commercial successful lever gun that could use Spitzer type bullets.
Yeah. And that was what everybody wanted. They complained about it's I will have my lever tube feds, but I don't like the cartridge that I have to use with it.
Exactly.
So,
until the Levolutions came along with Hornady, later with different advanced polymers and things of that nature. But that's a weird thing that I do not need to digress into that deep, because
yeah,
strange firearms history is kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting better at it. There's another gentleman guy that works there and he loves the old stuff. I can appreciate the old stuff. I am more of a within 40 years kind of guy.
well, I say that, and it's like I just love the weird nerd stuff about it. Like, oh yeah, that was this, and
Yeah.
understanding how it works. But if you look at anything I grab, it's not that.
Yeah.
I definitely lean more to the modern when it comes to taste.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
so no, let's see. For anyone who ever pays attention to things we say, I got something in that's really I've been thoroughly enjoying, and I'm gonna do a lot more testing with them this week. Is I got some new drill cards, and just because
Mm,
I'm with the gunsmith and firearms instructor and everything like that, whenever I go to the range, I always have to do the well, what drills are we gonna do? And everyone looks at you because you're the guy.
mhm.
So I get sick of having to come up with my own drills when I'm out because when I just want to like, nope, I just need to dust up on some of my practice. I have some drills I enjoy doing, but these are actually just called drill index cards, and like right there's their logo. It's just drill index,
Okay.
and you can do everything on them with like a USPSA silhouette or a B8,
Mhm.
and like it's super simple stuff to do. But they have a couple drills that are pretty wicked that they came up with. Like they have all the standards. It's like, oh hey, do a bill drill, do El Presidente, do the
Yeah.
most, and then they have like the BMF drill, which is like starting from holstered or low ready. It requires you to do two administrative mag changes, and it's like a 7-second timer.
Oh wow.
So
Yep.
uh,
I think my top favorite drills to get started and warmed up is definitely a bill drill. Like just and
yeah,
from a cold start. Um, I will do about 3 or 4 of them, and then I'll start moving into uh, a box drill or failure stop drills, and then transition drills. I don't really like doing one reload ones. Everybody likes them, and I know that they're high repetition and they're good for reloads, but I prefer to do more like 2 R12s
yep.
because you get follow-on shots. And I just do hand repairs and reload. I think that's more of an effective drill.
It's
Um,
1R1s are great for beginner shooters.
yeah.
Like it's a hey everyone, like get 2 megs out and load one all the way up. Okay, we're gonna rack it. Now put your empty meg in the gun, and like it's learning the manipulation of your firearm. Like
Yeah.
it's a great way to learn, but like you said, I think 2R2s are a more beneficial to most people.
Hmm.
And
Uh, yeah. Because then you start getting lost in that one shot reload one shot, and if you do any drill too much, I feel like you start to build good muscle memory in the technique but bad muscle memory in that sequence of fire.
yes, so Dirt Racer here says I prefer mag dumps into TVs to warm up, but that would be AK problems.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I have longtime listeners of the show will know that you brought up like one of my so I call them training scars when you talk about bad muscle memory. Training scars. We
Hmm.
all end up with training scars. I know I still have a lot of them that I've tried to overcome. Uh, I had an instructor once use the term de-evolve or devolve in front of me
Yeah.
because I was doing a carbine class and we got into this whole bunch of movement through like a maze of VTAC walls. And everything was going good, and then they start adding stress and yelling and screaming, and everybody's kind of bouncing around you. And I'm like, all right, yep. And I'm going, and I had everything out with like proper C clamp and doing all that. And then the next thing I realized, I was holding it like it was an M4, and I was back doing GWAT stuff in the early 2000s
you
because
left everybody behind, and they're like, hey.
I'm like, all right, and it's so anyways, I started blasting. Like, why did you do that? And I'm like, it's like that's not the like we've improved from that. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I understand that we've improved. The problem is this is where I started. And I
Yeah.
went back to my earliest forms of training, which is what most people will do anytime they're encountered in a stressful event. But training scars, you brought up something interesting about like the 1R1s when you get into that. There is a training scar and almost exactly what you were talking about that is responsible for the 40 Smith & Wesson to be in existence.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I've heard I've dove into the 40 like a lot because I don't like 40. So I had to research as to have ammo, so to speak, to tell people why 40 is not the greatest round in the world. Because there's a lot of people who think that. And what I knew of it was just the FBI needed something that was higher capacity than 9mm, higher stopping power, but they didn't want a 45.
So where it came from is the Miami-Dade County shootout of 1986.
Oh, yep, now I remember.
So this is a huge thing because this is the first time modern law enforcement, or like semi-modern law enforcement, encountered a enemy that had a handful of things that they had never seen before. One, they encountered people who had military training because it was 3, Army service members who were knocking over, who were out robbing things, and they had mini 14s. So they were running semi-automatic rifles and had they literally knew fire techniques. And when these FBI agents who were out playing vice cops engaged them with their 9mm, they literally had officers on scene, and when the firefight was over, they found agents with empty guns in their holster. And what they had
and
done,
brass in their pocket.
Yep, that's exactly it. They were, they were reloading and going back and putting brass in their pocket because that was what they had done in training. They were doing 2 shots, dump out, and they got into that rhythm because it's what they went back to, and it did not end well for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the government, being the government, said, obviously, the problem here was this 9mm. And at the time they carried Winchester Ranger 9mm, and it wasn't a bad round. Honestly, for the time, it was as good a round as anything else they had. It was just terrible technique, but they blamed it. So the FBI then switched, saying we needed all the stopping power, and they got hooked on 10mm, but their smaller male agents couldn't, and female agents could not handle the 10mm and the size of the grip. So Smith & Wesson came out with the 40 Smith & Wesson, which was a 10mm, but in a shorter, it could fit in a 9 frame. And so that is where a training scar is directly responsible for the 40 Smith & Wesson.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Now you know.
Yeah,
as I just spoke about a random shooting in Florida for 5 minutes that no one cares about except for me.
Yeah, I care because it brought 40 into this world, and it really stinks because everybody would be better with just 9mm and 40 or 10mm. 10mm is so much better than 40.
Oh, 100%. When 40 first came onto the market, shooters actually called it wasn't 40 Smith & Wesson, it was 40 short and weak, because they both shot a 10mm bullet, but they were loaded so light that it was, in comparison to a 10mm, they're like, what is this? This is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, 40 years later going, yeah, that was a mistake. And the FBI has now gone back to 9mm. And we're in business. So
Yeah, there's a lot, not to get too much deeper into that rabbit hole, but there's a lot that the FBI has influenced in the gun community as far as civilian carry. Your forward FBI
oh
wants to forward, FBI can't. Everybody
yep.
wants to carry under the arm. You got the 40 Smith and Wesson. There's probably a couple other ones, but those are the three major ones I know that everybody refers to. And
Yep, like the was it 10 or 15 degree cant that
yep,
FBI cant is.
yeah, yeah.
And
So they
the,
could be, that was just so that they could be able to shoot from a chair. They can draw it more easily from their seating position.
yep, and that also creates another training scar because it's so many people went to that, and it was the bulk of that was a lot of police departments, especially like smaller local jurisdictions, just following what the FBI did because they're
Blindly
like,
too.
they obviously know what they're doing, and yep.
Yeah, that's where you see all those pictures of the old guys that are doing like a super sumo squat to draw their gun because they have to, because they got a 15-degree cant.
Yep. So from the comments here, where's Garth? Oh wait, I'm Garth. Sorry I couldn't make the show tonight, fellas. Garth commented on Facebook for us, so
He's watching it in his combine.
yeah. But no, so no, that is very much so a real thing. The other part of that is something that I have had to try and train out of some people. I'm looking at you, Garth, and that is holster whip. Or so if you think about when you draw with that 15-degree cant, everyone comes out and you bring it up like you're going to crack a whip or like you're going to go fishing or something like that. And as you come up, instead of bringing it up and punching out, you're whipping it up into space. So you generally drive past your target and then have to come back down on a target.
It's like you're shooting at the 200-yard standing and you got to come up and wait till the sights get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Settle back.
Well, at least they're not shooting like that one instructor that we've all seen online where he starts shooting as soon as it comes out of the holster and he walks the bullets up to the target.
Yeah, that's the opposite of a good idea.
That's how you get shot.
Okay, so Charles, why don't we tell us a little bit about you?
So I started. I'll start with how I started the company. I started in 2017. I got back from my deployment in the Marine Corps. I did 8 years there as an infantry, and I was in the reserves. And I ended up getting on a deployment to go down to Central America to do foreign security forces training, which really got me into training. And I did a coach's course. I was a CMT, so I was a combat marksmanship coach in the Marine Corps. I did a lot of instruction. I did a lot of live fire ranges. Got out of the Marine Corps. I got my NRA certifications. I did that for about 4 years. And then I let my NRA certs lapse because I don't want to support the NRA anymore. So I just started looking for a different organization that I would get certifications through. And then in the midst of that, I lost my personal range that I had at the time. So therefore, I stopped instructing because I no longer had a facility to do that. So then I went and did gunsmithing school at Sonoran Desert Institute, got my associate's degree in firearms technology. Still wanted to do firearms training, but went back to holsters because there was a Kydex class in SDI. Small little 2-week class. Maybe I don't even think it was 2 weeks. I think it was 1 week on holsters. And I just started making holsters for myself and my friends and family. And they're like, dude, you could make a business out of this. Like, why not just do it full time? So I started doing it as a hobby, and 4 years later, actually almost 6 years later, now here we are. 2 years ago, I officially had started my LLC, and I've been pretty much working towards this being my full-time thing. I stay at home with the kids while the wife's at work as a nurse, and this is pretty much my life now, is gunsmithing part-time, making holsters and testing different concepts and ideas and gear, and expanding on from holsters onto other things because I still love the shooting sports. Anybody
That's
who
awesome.
talks to me, anybody that will talk to me, will pretty much have to tell me to stop talking about guns because that's literally all I talk about. I don't have any other topic. I don't have any other subject matter.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So
I
again, A Dirt Racer here has a very poignant question, and which flavor crayon is the best?
Purple. I don't know why.
Oh,
It's just always the purple one. Maybe
see,
it's grape flavored or something. I don't know.
I mean, that could be. Most of the time, it was red. You know,
You give me a 124 pack, I'm gonna taste them all. Let's just put it that way.
yep. So I will do this. Do you know where the crayon eater concept came from?
You know, I should know this, and I think someone told me at one point, but no, I forgot. I know all the other
Yeah, it's
stereotypes you could throw at me.
it actually comes from Vietnam, and when the Marines and Army would share a well, at the time it was a cob before it was a fob, but they would go out, and when the Marines would come back, they would, everyone would have a map. It was before ATAC and all those things, so they were marking stuff down with grease pencils, and when they would put them in, they would literally stick it in their mouth to do something or move around because it was a handy place to hold something. So they would have this streak from the grease pencil. So they just started making fun of them. Oh, look at the Marines out there eating their crayons.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is.
I always just thought it was. Yeah, I associated it with just a bunch of dumb window lickers.
Nope, that is 100% where it came from. Was grease pencils and maps.
Yeah.
So that's another fact that no one cared about for tonight. But so you are a fine bender of Kydex.
Yes.
So Kydex, for anyone who is living under a rock or doesn't understand, is more or less a plastic that, when heated, will mold easily into shapes that you can then make a holster out of, or mag carrier, or other things, whatever it is that you may want to bend into the shape of to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've heard of taco holsters.
For literal tacos. I've even seen donut holsters. That was even brought up when we were meeting in the parking lot at GunCon. I think they were pointing to you about wanting a donut. I don't know if it was you or who wanted the donut holster.
No, Aaron from We Like Shooting had one on him.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah, it was somebody had a donut holster.
Yes.
Yeah, and it got. I was like, I might do that because I've done some weird. I've had some strange requests, but that's the big thing.
A donut holster.
Yeah, that was the big thing about me is when I started the company. I didn't want to be like all the other holster makers where they buy the same mold from the same company, they press it, they trim it, they put their logo on it, and there you go. So I try to make mine more unique. I try to do custom work. So if someone comes up and like they wanted a challenge coin holster, I had a police officer who wanted a challenge coin holster, carry his challenge coin, enough to where you could see that it was a coin, but still hid the face of the coin on his duty belt. So I did it out of basket weave, stuff like that. I always like taking on those kind of challenges.
That is actually really, really cool. If you want to jump on like the next super hot trend,
Yeah.
do a holster that has like not standard mounting, like do a clip on it, but also put Velcro on one side for all of the people getting into fanny packs.
So I didn't bring I have a new Eberly stock fanny pack. I didn't actually have time. I have time. I just forgot to. I'll be honest. I was going to make myself a new holster for it because they give you this little hook strap. I think the Vertex one that you and Garth were playing with has that little hook and loop elastic band.
Yep.
But if you carry with a light, like most people should, in my opinion, but if you carry with a light, that doesn't do any good for you. So if you want a good light bearing holster to go in that, you need one that's got a hook and loop on it. And that's one thing that I'm going to be implementing onto the website here very soon. And I'm just going to make some and do some product videos and testing with the one fanny pack that I have, and it'll come with hook and loop on both sides.
Yeah, that Bando bag from Everly Stock. I know
That's what I got.
I have been looking hard at that, and
it's nice.
Yep. Okay, we do have a question here about holsters, and it is from Garth. When making holsters, do you do retention or button release? And do you need the gun to make a holster?
So I do not do button release. You'll see that in the Blackhawk Surface. Those are typically injection molded because of the pin that has to hold the button. I haven't tackled it. I would probably need the hardware to do it. It's something that's not impossible. I just have never done it. So mine are just going to be basic retention, or I will show one here that has a hood on it. So this is my level. It's still considered a level 2 hood. You press that down towards the body, and it has a spring-loaded spring-activated hood. This is a Blade Tech WRS USA-made hood. I had another one from Spets Gear that was a push and release. I since discontinued it because you would be able to defeat the hood, whereas this WRS, I will break it before I defeat it. So this is a more durable product. It has a bit of a training curve to it because you have to get used to how this activates. It's not as nice as like the Safariland SLS and ALS system. However, for like a civilian doing private security, or just somebody who wants level 2 retention on a range and they're doing some stuff where they're going to be going inverted, this is perfect for that, and it's a better price point. These start at $100, whereas most people for a duty style holster like this is going to start closer to $160, and that doesn't include all of the other attachments. Altogether, I think mine is $160 with the mounting thigh strap and QLS system. So it's a more of affordable option than some of the other bigger companies.
That is a solid value on that. And I say that not just as somebody who's like, hey, what's going on? Like, we're going to shill for this guy. I'm saying that as someone who has recently had to buy a Safariland holster for, that's military spec, and gotten like super pissed because they're ridiculously expensive for no reason.
They start at like $220.
Yeah.
Now, these are, so to answer Garth's question even more, is all my holsters are going to be friction based retention with washers. So it's going to be with a light. As if you don't know with holsters, when you have a light on the gun, the retention is based off of the light. Some lights are better than others to get retention off of certain points. So that whole audible click thing, it doesn't always, if you don't hear a click, it does not mean that it's secured. So people get really confused, like, oh, I hear the click, it's good. You got to understand what it's clicking on. You have Kydex that's indented a little bit that's making a snapping noise over a recess. Does not necessarily mean that it is going to retain it well. So just keep that in mind. That it's not always, click does not always mean good.
Oh, I understand. Oh, no. So as we get into that, talk about how those mount up, and I agree. I carry with a light, on my everyday carry gun as well, and well, pretty much everything I use has a light on it anymore, except for like a couple pocket carry guns and stuff for when I need more deep concealment and I care more about not being noticed.
Yeah. And that's where handhelds come in handy.
Yeah. I mean, like a handheld light is always there, but so is you do get looked at funny when you need a flashlight and you pull out your gun. Like that doesn't always work at work.
Yeah.
So other than, like, obviously you make holsters and you say you make custom holsters. So when you go to your website, you can look up and find like all of the different things you make with different models.
Yes. Yep. So the shop will give you it broken down between inside and outside the waistband, and then each of those, the inside the waistband is pretty much all one category. I have an appendix inside the waistband, which is my sidecar rig, which is essentially a copy of what T-Rex had started years ago, and everybody else is doing them. This is stitched together with shock cord, and it is a appendix rig with a side or a mag carrier attached to it.
Yep, I'll pull it up here as well. Yeah. I know you're showing it there to the camera, but
yes.
Here is your website showing that picture where you can see really well. You have your two, I'm gonna say, the J hooks for carrying in the appendix style, and then you have what I would call the claw on the grip side of the gun to assist in keeping things where it's supposed to be when you draw.
Yep, and you can customize the clips. Those come with the standard tack wear. Plastic clips. You could put the ulti clips on there, which are a spring-loaded clip mount for beltless carry. You can put the DCC HLR Mod 4, which is a metal clip. And then you can get it left hand, right hand. That's another big thing is anything that I offer, you can get in left hand or right hand. A lot of holster companies out there have a very select few holsters you can get left hand, and it's not with us. Every model can be done left hand. So I have that flexibility.
I know that will make one of the hosts of this show extremely happy.
Yeah. Well, for those wrong-handed people, we can get you with the right setup.
Exactly. It's okay to be wrong. Much like people who use QLS forks, that's okay.
Hey, you know what? I did get an RTI in. I got an, but my supplier didn't have the hanger base, so I'll have to go to G-Code to get that directly to try it out. I've seen it done. I've just always used the QLS forks, and I just recently had someone send me a video of someone defeating it, pulling that QLS system off at the right angle, and I'm like, great! Now I'm going to have to switch to RTI.
See, I know that this got brought up, I think, as well, because for anyone who hasn't gathered, we met at GunCon and talked, and I know that like the two biggest proponents of the RTI hanger in the gun world and space that I inhabit are myself and Jeremy Posderick, and we are two not small humans. And we're going, no, you need the RTI because it's more durable.
I mean, I haven't had my my QLS system fail me yet, and I've run it through some tight areas where it snagged a couple of times, but I can see the benefit of having both, and I'm not going to stick to one because I like it, because my company isn't about pleasing me, it's about pleasing everybody else. So I have since recently added, actually about a week after GunCon, I added the G-Code RTI as an option for my range and duty holsters.
Yep. No, I just really like the RTI, and I think it was because when I went through, I was like, nope, this is where I need to be, because I just liked it, and I bought it and went, yep, this works for me. This is what I'm going to do, and I will live here forever now.
That's probably what happened with the QLS. It's like, well, I like it, so why change? So,
yep.
But with me as a manufacturer, I kind of have to try everything, and I have to dabble in a bunch of other stuff.
I will say I had tried another system before I went to the RTI, and it was ungood. it was the Blackhawk Omni, like weird Omni. That sun thing. Because well, shooting stuff for the Army, they're like, oh, use this, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess if I have to, Serpas and weird Blackhawk mounts are gonna be part of my life for a while.
And Blackhawk is like the same thing. We had all the Blackhawk stuff in the Marine Corps. I did not care for it. The only thing I think they had that was okay was their rotary mount for truck drivers. So they put the Molly fork with that rotary plate. Yep. If you're motor T, hey, that works. And it was the only system that could do that at the time.
Well, yeah, and now there's like 5 others that can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the worst thing, but it was definitely not the best, because everybody also thought, oh, everyone needs to have drop legs, and they were in some 90s SWAT movie with a holster down by their knee.
And I can't, after doing all that with the M9 and doing all that setup, it's just people like it. Like, when the gun moves when you run, it starts to hurt, and you're throwing that M9 and loaded, having an extra weight, versus on the RTI or UBL system where it stays in one spot and then your leg can move without the extra weight.
Like I even run the leg strap around my leg to keep everything there. This all makes sense to me. But let's just say if you wear a drop leg properly, it should screw up 2 pockets.
And we give you no access to either of them.
Exactly. It's just ruined 2 pockets for me.
Yeah. Now the other system, I haven't sampled their drop leg yet. I think I did in the past when I first got it in a 3-gun. I had this, and it's Blade Tech. Blade
Yep.
Tech is another great system. The only downside I see to Blade Tech is that there's too many pieces that you have to piece together. They don't have any unified system.
Yeah.
It's buy the tech lock, which is great. I run this for all my accessories on my belt because I can put it anywhere if it's almost any belt up to 2.25. So
Yeah.
it's very modular.
Oh, they're great. Like I keep Tech Lock mag holders around, always have, because like having an extra one, somebody, here, use this one.
Yeah, doesn't matter what belt system you have. Molly, it doesn't matter if it's an ELS, if it's I don't care if it's just your belt that you have on your everyday carry pants. This is going to go on it.
Yep.
But when you want to do a drop leg with Blade Tech, you've got to get a Tech Lock, and then you got to get a drop offset mount, and then you have to have the adapter plate that goes to the holster. So you have all these different points of failure that you could use Loctite and heavy duty screws and all you want, but every screw point is a point of failure, and I don't like that. So that's the only downside. Is I think they need to make a Tech Lock mount that has the Tech Lock as the top, and then a fixed drop offset. If they can do that, I will add that full time to the list as well.
Yep. So you were holding up something there that we probably should talk about more, because we are the AR-15 podcast. We've been talking a lot
Yeah.
about holsters, but that is your AR-15 mag carrier.
And I have two different options of mounting, which is the Tech Lock that we were talking about and love so much, and then also the Blade Tech. Well, these aren't Blade Tech; these are actually a knockoff. I just happen to have these sitting in a bin, but these are Molly locks. So if you remember having to use those floppy, crappy Cordura Molly and having to fish those through and spending hours doing it, and then they gave us the Alice clips.
I remember Malice clips.
Or yeah, the thin stuff.
Yep.
And then you have the Taylor, I think it was Taylor. Taylor clips. I can't remember the full name, but they're the same thing, but they locked in. You had to feed them through, and they had a lock. And then to get those unlocked, was you pretty much broke it every time.
Yeah.
So
I
these are
all Malice clips.
Yeah. So these are nice because they have the Blade Techs are actually more rigid than these cheap knockoffs. These are still made in China. These are old ones. I try to make sure that 99% of what I offer is made in the USA. And I know that's not fully feasible since we live in an international trade market. Some things are going to be made in China. And I just make sure that if it is made in China, it's from a company that boasts great quality control. So it's not bad made in China. But some things you just can't avoid. But you get less pull away. Whereas you do with those mollies, when you would molly a mag carrier to it, when you go to pull up, that mag carrier went halfway with it.
I know it well.
Yep. So these are adjustable retention. They are ambidextrous, so you can index your magazine whichever way pleases you, however you're going to want it on your belt. They use what's called a MRD. The MRD is a mag retention device. If you're not familiar with it, it is a holster design. And what it is a small device in here that has a small arm. I wish I would have had one out to show it better, but as you go ahead.
I was saying it's a small arm sandwiched onto the. Think of the Kydex shell as like a taco going around.
Yep.
And the mag being the innards of the taco.
Yeah. If I will pull up let's see if we can see it inside here. So that little arm, I don't know if how well it's going to show up on camera. Light might be too much, but that little device in there has a little arm that when you run this screw in, that arm presses up against the mag, and that's what gives you your retention. So you can adjust it that way. And so instead of sandwiching it, which gives you part of when you sandwich it, when you have those old school retention points, when you would sandwich the taco together, your retention was biased to that side, and it would be looser on here. This gives you more of an even retention. So it's a much better retention device. And
okay, that is awesome, because I have had some of those older versions like come apart on me in the middle of a competition. Because
this isn't going to come out on you. And you can adjust it too on the fly much quicker with just having a small little 1/8-inch hex key on you. If you're like, hey, I want it tighter for this because I might be getting on the ground and I don't want to make sure it's nice and tight, or hey, I need this loose because I need these coming out lightning fast, and then it's still big enough where a fully loaded mag is going to be retained very, very well.
And one kind of neat thing about that is with that style of retention, as you were showing, you're not married to one location.
Yeah.
I say that as there was a band, their whole thing was like they did an inverted bandolier where you pulled down for the mags.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, well, that's interesting, but that doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah,
I think it made a lot of sense for like bullpup guys.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like that's the only way it would work for me because it's already in your
prone.
armpit.
Maybe in the prone position when you're laying down, it's easier to just push down than to try to like chicken wing yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those like that. It gets weird, but everybody's trying new things all the time, and you never know. You might want to do that, or even like I know Cry has the sideways mounts that go on the back of the plate carrier.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have like sweet 90s action movie stuff going on.
Yeah, a small the back AR pull. Yeah, but what's nice about the tech lock, like you're mentioning, like that, is I'll send it in a vertical. If you want to cant it or horizontal it, you can carry this upside down if you wanted to, and it's going to retain well. So you're going to get it vertical, and then by all means, do as you please.
All right, now I'm going to get into the controversial slot here. I'm going to ask you a question there is a correct answer, at least to me. Now I say that on your belt. So obviously you probably run a belt like most other people do, especially if it's a full battle belt with a pistol.
Yep, which I didn't bring.
You'll have your holster on your dominant side. Then you generally run pistol mags in front of your rifle mags, with rifle mags starting at about the 9 o'clock and rotating around the back. Which direction do your bullets face?
Mine are always bullets to the rear.
Correct. That is the right answer.
The only time that changes is when they're on my plate carrier. I put them with the bullets facing my strong side, because I grip like this. I grip the top and I come and I rotate in. I don't do the bottle grip. So
yep. I also it's bullets to the rear. Pistol mags, bullets front. Rifle mags, bullets rear. The only time I change that up is shooting some very specific competitions I still do for the Army. I run a split mag carrier with 4 mags on each side.
Mm-hmm.
And on my strong side, I will put those facing towards the center. Because when I pull them out, just because when I'm reaching around, it's easier to pull out and in. But also most of those are just carried as an admin. So I know which direction they're facing because they get switched around when they're empty.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I was going to say that is a question we had to have because there is very much so a right answer to that question. And that is you got it correct.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I could think of a method. My rounds were forward. How you would even grab that? It's just not comfortable. How? It must be a left-handed thing.
I don't know. It is not comfortable, but you know what is comfortable, and that's VZ grips. And the unique features of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered in mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options and shorty versions available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available, and this coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
I know you get it all the time, but you have the best podcast voice. You know that, right?
I try. It's it might not be good for a lot, but
so we talked about rifle mags. Now I think it's appropriate to talk about pistol mags.
Yep.
So I have a standard pistol mag carrier. for inside the waistband. Same mag retention device. It says ambi. Inside the waistband can be carried in any direction. Your index can be any way you need it. I will say it's a little bit tighter on this because I have it adjusted for rounds in a certain way, but this fits Glock mags, M&P mags, SIG mags, any 940 double stack mag, and then I have a 1.5 mag carrier for all those micro compacts. So your Glock 43Xs, Hellcats, 365s, and as well as the 45s and 10s. And if you didn't know, Canic mags are all the same size mag, but they are not a 940 double stack. They actually mic out and fit 1.5 stack mags better. I found that out because they do not fit. Now with the MRD, I can get it to work, but what you'll get is you'll get play side to side because the mags are thinner. They're not as girthy. Yeah.
So
nice.
So now I have to ask, how about Walther mags?
I haven't tried a Walther as a 380 or 9mm mag, or even the larger caliber.
The reason I ask that is because Canics are ostensibly a copy of a Walther. And
I will have to get some Walther mags and verify that. I try to get every manufacturer's magazines, so that way I can test fit with the actual magazine.
Yeah, there's a whole like weird story of how Canic came into being, and it involved the Turkish government and military doing some shady things.
No, the Turks? No.
I cannot imagine that.
No.
But no, so that is again, that's just one of those, just a weird aside for that on Canic mags. Walther mags should be about the same.
I will have to verify that.
Should be does not mean they are.
Yeah. Just like there's a lot of them out there where there's theory, and then
I've seen that many times. So the magazine carrier that you have, your single magazine carrier, I know you have it listed as inside the waistband.
That is primarily its option when it comes defaulted, but it can be put on with a Molly, a single Molly, or a Tech Lock. I just didn't want to have to create two separate products for inside and outside.
I understand, because I look at that even with the clip you have on it, and I have used those as a like impromptu outside the waistband. Because
it kind of looks like a mini paddle, and it works very well.
Well, it's like, oh hey, I'm carrying my concealment gun like what I normally do. I'm going to do some practice from concealment and want to do a reload drill. I'll clip one of those to my belt on the outside, just so that I have it there in a familiar place. Which
it still works.
Yep. And then it's okay. We're going to put this back where it belongs and actually carry it the right way. And
right.
My reloads take way longer, but when you're doing it for the gram.
Right. Yeah. The other option is the always outside the waistband double mag carrier. This has, I think, 4 different mounting options, that are actually 5 or 6 different mounting options you can do with this. The standard, same thing. I'll pull this out. You can index your magazines whichever way you need to, rounds forward, rounds back, so it can be left hand, right hand, index whichever way you need to. They will fit 1.5 to 1.75 inch belts, depending on the belt loops that you get. They'll be either these P-style loops, wings, open speed loops, which are speed clips, which are basically like a paddle for they're winged loops that are cut open. You'll have the infinity loop, which is probably my new favorite belt clip. It's probably going to become my new standard belt clip that I put on everything. And I unfortunately didn't bring any with me because I ran out of stock and I had to order more. So the infinity loop is from Matchpoint USA. It's a USA made product, and it has a built-in cant to the clip, and it has 4 different, there you go. The infinity loop allows you to pretty much really customize how you're going to carry your mag carriers and your holster. So you can adjust your ride height and your cant without having to have a fixed canted holster. You can have a straight draw holster, flip those, because you can see how they have that different angle in them. You just flip those, and you can give a 15 or 10 to get out a 10 to 15 degree cant, and then you can even alternate them up and down to exaggerate that even more if need be. Those are by far my favorite new belt outside the waistband attachment.
Yeah, those definitely look very interesting. So
Yeah. Well, if you guys carry outside the waistband like that, and you need, if you guys want a holster, let me know, and I'll hook you guys up with one with those clips on there so you can try them out. They're fantastic.
yeah, it looks like they'd be a good system to try. I
Yeah.
generally quit carrying outside the waistband like that just because I went, yeah, I carry inside the waistband every day.
I only carry outside the waistband when I'm doing gun shows and while I'm working in the gun store. Those are the only times I'm outside the waistband.
Yeah, I am like when I'm on the range doing like instructor things and it's not a
Yeah.
concealed course, then oh yeah, all the time, more if I'm at a competition. But then
Mhm.
obviously, like I have a battle belt on and like a big gun hanging off.
Right.
Other than that, I don't. The one thing that I used to do, I used to have a just like a cheap Blade Tech holster with the quick lock that I could carry like when I came home. It was just like, oh, it's just something fast to throw on to have when I
Yep.
was putzing around the house because I didn't want to, put an extra belt on or something. And I think it was then I switched to a inside the waistband holster mounted backwards, like a left-handed one
Oh, right. So yep.
that I just carried wrong.
Yeah. That's
Like,
probably not the right clip for that.
oh no, it's like the utility clips worked great for that,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you use one
but
of those, they're not going anywhere.
but that's also one of those. What are you doing? Just don't worry about it, man. Like this is wrong. It's just feels
Yeah.
good.
So I actually was thinking too, while Garth was out, uh, one of the things that he could use while he's out working the field in his combine is he can do a chest
Oh,
holster.
the chest holster.
And I call
So,
it, if you don't know, if you know your history a little bit, this is called the chesty.
oh, do one more for Chesty.
Yep. So the chesty I came up with, I do not make the straps. Somebody else makes the straps. But because I don't do nylon work. So I let them do the nylon work, and I just make the shells for them. Nice thing about my shells, though, on this is you can take them off of this, put your regular outside the waistband belt clips, and now you can wear it on your hip. Or you could put Molly on it, and you could put this to the waist strap on your hiking pack. So this can be very, very modular as well.
Yeah, that is awesome. And for anyone who is looking at this, the price on this for the Chesty holster is $130, and that might seem like a lot, but we've already talked about good holsters cost money, and a chest rig holster for $130 is an insane value. So that is one of those things that you generally would not find anywhere close to that sort of price point. And for anyone needing something to carry that like giant revolver, that's the way to carry it.
Oh yeah.
I do need to look and see if you have a Deagle. Because that would be
Not going to go away. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the ultimate way to carry a Desert Eagle, those just right there in front.
Yeah. I've actually had calls for inside the waistband.
I'm not shocked. Okay.
One moment.
Yep. Well, Charles is taking care of some stuff there and doing that. We're going to keep going through and talk a little bit more about some of our advertisers before we forget tonight. So we have Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. If you need any of your morale patches, things like this awesome sign that I have in my hand that says the Tree of Liberty, water with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And that is some of the very great products that they make at Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co, for all your morale patch and, home decor needs. They also make some great stickers and have all kinds of sweet custom, pop culture patches and those things as you go through. Also with that, just a little bit of more stuff as we go up. Guys, I know that as this show will come out on Monday, let me see here and check the date. That will be August. Let's see, tomorrow is Monday, August 5th is when this show goes live. We probably will not have a show next week, which I will apologize to everyone. It's just with Garth being in the depths of harvest, I will be taking off to go do some other things where I will be running matches for quite a while there and have all of those things happening. So I will be unavailable and out of service for that, but we will be back the following week and ready to go with everything. So while we keep going with that, looks like our guest may have had some other technical difficulties, but I will tell you where to find. Oh, here we go. We're popping back up. So that is a little bit of housekeeping stuff for us on next week, where we probably won't have a show. And now that Charles is back, Charles, where can everybody find you and Klecker Tactical?
So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to start posting more videos on YouTube. And I apologize. I know the audio is probably bad because I just switched to the laptop. My phone died. Even plugged in. Also, one thing I'm going to do here while I'm talking with you is I am going to give your listeners a promo code. So what it's going to be is it's going to be AR-15 Papa. So it is just going to be AR-15 Papa. That is going to give you guys 10% off your orders.
Now that is awesome. Thank you so much for that.
KleckerTactical.com. Nick put it up there a couple of times there for you to see all your options to fully customize your holsters inside and outside. If you have something that's custom and strange and off the wall and you don't see the options on the site, I'm always adding more options. So just reach out to me via email or even on Instagram or Facebook, and we can build you something custom.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And Charles, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all these things with us, talking about holsters, mag carriers, and going down some rabbit holes with me.
Oh, yeah. I hope to do it again sometime.
All right. Well, thanks. Everyone knows where to find you. Thank you so much for that generous promo code. Everyone, we will have that stuff along with links to everything on the show notes for this episode when it comes up. And yeah, with that, anything you want to add before we log off for the night or get done here?
Just carry safe, always carry, and train.
One question was asked is, why is there no high point?
That's coming soon. So that was one of the additions when we talked to Dave there at GunCon, and I have 2 high points probably waiting for me at work to pick up when I go there tomorrow. I will begin molding and getting those on the website once I get them tested. So high point will be soon.
Good deal. Well, there you go. You can get I know the high point he has or had, and it was the holy high point of Antioch. And that was what started him down the journey. But as we keep going with that, thank you so much for coming on. Again, guys, go check them out. Check out everything they do. And Charles already said it a little bit tonight, and that is number one, go out, get training. I know I say it every week. Remember that you are your own first responder. No one is coming to save you. And folks, everyone out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube. AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.